Kia tu pakari koe, ka pakari tō tū. If you were strong, strength comes to you. Kia tu kaha koe, ka kaha tō tū. If you were brave, bravery comes to you. Kia tu maya koe, ka maya tō tū. If you were courageous, courage comes to you. Kia ora koutou, everyone. My name's Muskan Devta. I'm 14 years old and I'm a student at Westlake Girls High School. Now, I have a question for all of you sitting in the audience today. Have you ever been in a situation where you thought it was so tough, you might not have enough courage to get through it? Anyone? Show of hands. Anyone? See? It happens, right? That's what my story is all about. It's okay not to have courage. Let me take you back in time. It's the year of 1999 in India, and Mr. and Mrs. Devta are expecting their first child in December. But the child is born early, and instead is born on the 6th of October. Now, apart from being born at just 32 weeks, everything is wrong with this child. She's got holes in her heart, underdeveloped lungs, a low birth weight, weak eyesight, and she's also diagnosed with a medical condition called partial hemiplegia, in which case half of her body is weaker than the other. In my case, it was the right side. Now, the doctors came and told my parents that they might only have a maximum of 100 hours with me. As you can imagine, it was a tough time for them. And my parents obviously did not have the courage to get through the situation. But what did they do? They borrowed courage from people around them. Family, friends, relatives. They took assurance from the doctors that everything was going to be all right. And one thing they definitely did not give up was their hope. And the result is me here today. Thank you. Now, the Devta family decided to migrate to New Zealand in 2004, when I was almost 5. Now, if you picture me back then as a little girl, you may think that I was really excited to start afresh in a new country, learn a new language, stuff like that. Yeah, you were right. But mostly, I was excited to start at a new school. My first day at primary school, however, it didn't quite go as expected. I was wearing a brace on my foot to keep it straight. I'm wearing trendy glasses now, but back then I was wearing those that were totally out of fashion. They were, weren't they? I was shy, I was quiet, I didn't talk much. Now, I thought it was the first day, so I'll let it pass. That day turned into a week, which turned into a month, which turned into a year, which developed into several more years. But my loneliness, unfortunately, stayed the same. I couldn't talk to anyone, and no one approached me either. My school routine consisted of me eating my snack at morning tea and just roaming around till the bell went. And then my lunchtime would be spent in the comfort of books at the library. Now, all that reading was where my love for literature and passion for words started out from. So that was my routine for quite a while. But as you know, time changes for everyone, right? It did for me too. God finally gave me my first friend. My brother, Aman Devta, was born on the 5th of June, 2005. Hi. And this guy pretty much changed my life. See, he only had one reaction towards me, a smile. And every little smile he gave me came with a bit of courage, which I found myself using to get through the rest of primary school. We had so much fun back then, and we still do today. I can tell you that Amin has not only grown up to be my brother, but my friend, my companion. He's my everything. Even today, he's sitting in the audience, lending me his courage to help me get through the biggest speech of my life. So thank you, Amin. It means a lot. Now, the interesting thing is, as I moved on to intermediate, I found things beginning to change. I started doing things that I wanted to do. I became class captain. I became a school roaming reporter for my school newsletter. And I started talking to about 59,000 listeners every week on my radio show called You and Muskan through a popular Hindi radio station called Radio Tarana. 59,000 listeners. Whoa! So you may be wondering, how did all this happen? Well, I made a decision. I decided to go ahead and accept myself for who I was. You see, I was growing mature towards my condition, and I actually understood that this hemiplegia was something I would have to live with throughout my entire life. So why worry? I mean, come on, ladies and gentlemen. How could I expect others to accept me when I hadn't accepted myself? And then came rolling and rumbling 2013, the most remarkable year of my life. Lots of things happened this year. I became a teenager. My grandparents flew over from India to celebrate my 13th birthday. We had so much fun and chocolate cake. I entered high school, and I finally underwent corrective surgery for my foot at Starship Hospital. Now, after the surgery, I was kept under observation for 5 days. And during those 5 days, I was sharing the recovery ward with about 4 or 5 other kids. This experience led me to realize that other kids can also have complications. And some of them were even worse than mine. I also took to notice how hard and tirelessly the crew at Starship were working to make our stay more comfortable. I wanted to do something for those people. So I just started writing. And then those few sentences I started out with eventually filled pages, which formed chapters, and finally evolved into this, my autobiography, I Dream. Ta-da! Now, I was very lucky because Westlake Girls High School, being the awesome high school that it is, decided to include this as a textbook for the Year 9 English curriculum of 2014, coincidentally under a unit called Courage. Through my story, through this book, I was lending out my courage to every student that read it. Every talk, every speech, every interaction I had with those people around me. Ladies and gentlemen, it was now my time to give out my courage to others. So, this has been my life story. Thank you for being a great audience today. Remember, it's okay to borrow courage in tough situations. And, if possible, lend your courage to people around you and help in making them successful. Thank you very much.